I stored my garlic that I grew last year on a shoe rack. It's on a cart in my garage. And I just chose the largest heads of garlic to go and plant out in my garden. It's October, a little later in October than I normally plant garlic, but I've been busy. And so I'm going to plant that garlic and these rounds, which I grew from the seed. It's really not the seed. It's a clone of the garlic plant. It looks like a seed in the flower of garlic. I collected those tiny little bulbils and I grew them in the ground, and they are going to end up as big as a whole head of garlic after 2 or 3 seasons. And I'm on my 2nd season, so it's cool. You plant the round, it's called, in the ground, just like you would a clove, a single clove of garlic. That's how you plant garlic normally. You take a clove out, keep the paper on, plant it 2 inches deep, 4 to 6 inches apart, and wait 8 months, and you harvest your garlic. But when you get the tiny little seed-looking cloves of garlic in the garlic flower, you can plant those and eventually get a full head of garlic. It's so cool. Buck, we're gonna plant some garlic. Yes, we are. We're gonna plant some garlic. So I've put the garlic in my sunroom, and sun and garlic equals sprouting. I meant to plant my garlic days ago. I put it in my sunroom, and sun and garlic equals sprouting. So I need to get these in. I take the garlic that grew the best, and that's what I grow again every year. But in here is something that I explained earlier called a round. And this was the little thing that appears in the garlic flower in early summer or late spring when you harvest garlic. The flower has these little things that look like seeds. They're really the clone of the mother plant, and they're called bulbils. And they're tiny little cloves of garlic. You plant those and you will end up getting what's called a round. This can be planted just like garlic. I plant that in October in the United States, just like garlic. So the tiny bulbil has been grown twice, and now I have this round that I'm going to plant, and I should get a large head of garlic out of it. There's another round. So to plant garlic, it's pretty easy. You separate this head and you plant the cloves pointy side up with the skin intact. Do not peel the skin. Pointy side up, 2 inches deep, 4 to 6 inches apart. When you separate the cloves and get ready to plant, choose the largest cloves. Don't choose these little tiny ones. My thumb is yellow because I spray painted some things. Choose the largest cloves. They will produce the largest heads of garlic. Now, if you don't have that much garlic to plant it all and see what happens. But you can use the smaller ones in cooking and keep the larger ones to plant. I have the garlic all set out, and I'm going to plant those rounds in the middle of this 4x4 round garden bed. And then the cloves, the full-size cloves, will go 2 rows on the outskirts. So what's cool is, I know these rounds are viable because they're already sprouting. I'll probably trim off, break off those little roots because those are dead and dried, and we need to have fresh roots come out. So I might clean that round up a bit before I plant it, leaving as much skin intact as possible. Same thing with these others. Now, rounds can look almost like a clove of garlic with more defined, a head of garlic with more defined cloves, like this one. This one isn't as circular as this one, but that's okay because that's well on its way. But we're not going to separate those cloves. We're just going to plant the entire round. So I plant the cloves 2 inches deep, and the rounds don't have to be as deep, but it's okay if they are. So there's the round. If it starts to sprout, don't worry. Just always remember the pointy side of the clove goes up. The bottom, the flat part, goes down. So I'll plant this entire bed 2 inches deep, 4 to 6 inches apart, and the middle will have those rounds which evolved from bulbils. Right, we planted them all 2 inches deep. Now I'll even out the soil and then maybe top it with some compost. Now this soil was amended with some homemade compost. It's good to have nice rich soil when you plant garlic. And then the garlic that I couldn't plant in this bed, I may plant elsewhere. I'm not sure where yet. I need to figure that out. Oh yeah, and then Buck wanted to remind us that in northern climates, you may want to plant a little bit deeper and mulch a couple inches. I mulch a little bit with compost, but I don't put a ton over the 2-inch deep cloves of garlic that I plant. But mulching is very good. You will see sprouts very soon, and don't worry if the sprouts come and you have green plants popping up in your garden and the snow starts falling, they'll be fine.